Hello and welcome to today's ResNexus webinar, the next level of ResNexus Travel Protection. And this is an exciting webinar to kick off the new year. If you're not familiar with travel protection, this is a tool you can use to protect your business and keep your guests happy at the same time. If you are familiar, then you'll be pleased to see some of the new protections that travel protection now offers. But first, a little about me. My name is Gavin Wadsworth. I'm a hospitality researcher and marketing writer at ResNexus, and I also manage our webinars. And we're going to start with the basics of travel protection and how it works, and then move on to the more specifics. Launched in 2020, ResNexus Travel Protection was our response to the COVID-19 pandemic to help businesses prevent loss of income due to last-minute illness and other health conditions. The guest simply pays a small fee for this added protection at the time of booking. Then, if they have to cancel for one of the protected reasons, 100% of their booking amount minus the travel protection fee is refunded on your behalf. Then travel protection reimburses your business for the same amount. The guests love the added flexibility in the event of unexpected circumstances, and your business can rest easy knowing that last-minute cancellations won't hurt your revenue. And often, you can rebook the room or unit as well. For those of you who are not familiar with how travel protection works, if a guest gets sick or experiences one of the following conditions or events 14 days or fewer before their arrival date, ResNexus provides both you and the guest with a 100% refund minus the travel protection fee. If the illness happens more than 14 days before the arrival date, then your normal cancellation policies apply and you treat it like any other booking. And it's that simple. Now, for any cancellation, we do require proof of the reason in order to provide the reimbursement. So in the case of medical complications or deaths, we require a doctor's note or a death certificate or a positive COVID-19 test as applicable to the situation. But now let's go over how travel protection looks to you and the guest and how it works in practice. If you offer travel protection for your property, then it will display on your booking engine. And you can configure whether you want travel protection to be selected by default or whether it is unchecked by default. So here we can see the travel protection section underneath the reservation preview, and the guest can check or uncheck it. And then the travel protection fee is displayed for this as well. And once again, this fee is a percentage of the total booking amount. When a guest books with travel protection, they do have to pay the full amount of the booking upfront. If someone makes a reservation over the phone and you begin adding the booking in your back office, you'll see this button on the side to add travel protection to the booking. And then you're provided with the basic information you need to convey to the guest about how travel protection works. If they'd like to add it, just click the checkbox and proceed with inputting the reservation. When the guest receives a confirmation email with the receipt for the booking, they'll also get a section in that email about their added travel protection. From here, the guest can see the full terms and conditions for their travel protection and also apply for a refund. So in this case, maybe I sprained my ankle, or I got the flu, or someone in my close family died a day before my arrival date, and so I won't be able to attend. And so I go ahead and I click the Apply for Refund button. And then I simply input my last name and phone number, then click Apply for Reimbursement. And on this screen, it also has instructions to remind the guest what's required, namely a doctor's note in this case. One of the main convenience factors for travel protection is that the reservation is canceled for you, so you don't have to worry about it. In fact, you can even allow guests to reschedule for a different date when they apply for a reimbursement. And this is also the point at which I would need to provide the proof for the reason of my cancellation. So I simply provide that doctor's note or other document and then click Submit. And once that's approved, I would be refunded for the total booking amount, and that does not include the travel protection fee. And you can see that reflected here. And after that, the property would in turn be reimbursed for the refund as well, and for that same amount. So now, as the guest, I'm happy because I got refunded for the total booking amount, and all I had to pay was the travel protection fee. And I get to reschedule for a different date automatically. And the property's happy too, because they got reimbursed as well. And they didn't have to deal with a frustrated guest or fall back on their standard cancellation policies. And everything was handled from the property. Since I'm no longer going to make it to my reservation, the property actually has the chance to rebook the room or unit and make their money back again. You can see why the service is so popular. Since we introduced this service, we've protected over 28,000 bookings and reimbursed properties and guests over $144,000 for last-minute cancellations due to illness. And we have a 98% reimbursement approval rate for qualified bookings. Now, I'm going to share just a few of these stories as an example of how travel protection has helped properties and guests in the past. So for this first example, we had a campground property where someone was attaching their RV hitch on their way to the property and they hurt their hand really bad, enough that they had to go in for medical attention. The camper had to get stitches and it was bad enough that they could not go through with their trip. So they applied for a refund with travel protection and received a 100% refund minus the travel protection fee, and the campground was reimbursed for the same amount. In another case, a couple was going to stay at a bed and breakfast, and the wife suffered from severe anxiety. She thought she could handle it, but on the first day in their accommodations, she had a pretty severe panic attack and couldn't stay. And because they'd booked with travel protection, they were refunded 100% of the booking total, again minus the travel protection fee, and the bed and breakfast was reimbursed for that same amount. Another example is we have a property with cabins, kind of an outdoor adventure destination, and they had people getting injured from skiing and things like that, twisted ankles, that kind of thing. So their guest stay would be interrupted because they had to leave to get medical attention. So they would receive a partial refund. But one couple was coming to stay and one of their parents died. So even though the death wasn't one of the people coming to the reservation, the couple was refunded and the business was reimbursed. Our clients are often surprised at how many specific scenarios that travel protection actually does reimburse for. And now, we're expanding our services to protect more circumstances than ever before. So first off, ResNexus Travel Protection now includes last-minute illness or health condition for one of your household pets. And for this, we do require a veterinarian's note as proof for this. But we've also expanded to 2 entire new categories of protections: adverse weather involving rain or snow, and travel delays. So when you enable travel protection, you'll be able to select which ones you'd like to offer. And then those options would then be displayed on your booking engine for the guest to choose from when they select a unit. And when the guest clicks on Terms and Conditions, it will bring up this pop-up for all the protections they've selected. So now let's go ahead and go over how these new protections work. We're happy to announce that one of the most requested protections from campgrounds, adverse weather involving rain, is now one of the new protections. Basically, if the rain picks up between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. and lasts 2 to 4 hours, we'll provide a 50% reimbursement of that day's booking value. If it lasts more than 4 hours, we'll provide 100% reimbursement for that day. And the time period for this is same day, meaning any days during the booking. So basically, this really helps out if you have people coming to stay to your property specifically for outdoor activities that would be ruined by rain. So now they're able to be reimbursed for that. And the proof required for this is pretty straightforward. The guest just has to supply a picture or screenshot of rain at their destination. There can also be signs of rain, including wet structures, ground, etc. ResNexus then verifies the weather event using data from the National Weather Service. And one other thing to note about weather-related protection is that we don't currently offer it in Canada. It's currently United States only. Now, rain might not be a huge concern for most indoor reservations, but hurricanes are a different story, and we protect for these events too. If a hurricane impacts the 50-mile radius area around the property up to 2 days before their arrival date, then travel protection provides a refund. If the hurricane only impacted a portion of the stay date, we'll reimburse a prorated portion. In addition, if the guest has to leave early due to a hurricane, we'll provide a prorated refund for that as well. We also protect against adverse weather involving snow. If the blizzard or other severe winter storm event closes the roads near the property, preventing your guests from getting to you, travel protection reimburses for that. The adverse weather event involving snow must prevent you from traveling to the property within 24 hours of your arrival date, and we'll also prorate for the days your guests are not able to attend the booking. ResNexus Travel Protection also covers transportation delays such as unexpected flight disruption or cancellation. For proof of a transportation delay, we require a picture of the airline ticket and a notice of the delay of cancellation. And the flight delay or cancellation must have occurred 24 hours prior to the arrival date. We do not reimburse if the guest missed their flight due to circumstances under their control, such as not arriving in the airport 2 hours before their flight departs. Other protected travel and transportation delays include public transport failure or mechanical breakdown of your vehicle. For proof of a transportation delay, we require a picture of the vehicle breakdown as well as an invoice or receipt for the breakdown recovery service. If the vehicle was stolen, we require the incident number or report. And again, these breakdowns should be outside of the guest's control, preventing them from making other arrangements more than 24 hours prior to the arrival date. Home emergencies. If burglars break into your guest's house, or it catches on fire, or it floods, or the travel documents get stolen, travel protection refunds for these situations as well. And for proof, we require a picture of the insurance claim, or a police report, or other responding emergency services. And the guest can apply for this reimbursement up to 2 days before their arrival. If one of your guests is a member of armed or emergency services and is recalled to work with fewer than 14 days' notice, they are eligible for a reimbursement under travel protection. And for proof, we simply require a letter or note from the commanding officer or line manager to confirm the recall to duty and that it was not on their original schedule. Court summons is another one that can crop up unexpectedly. If your guests get summoned for jury duty or to appear as a witness during their stay, and they had fewer than 14 days' notice, they're eligible for a reimbursement from travel protection. For proof, we simply require a copy of the letter requiring jury duty or summons. And on a side note, we do not refund if the guest is a defendant in criminal proceedings. This is for unexpected jury duty. And finally, there's unexpected changes in important exam schedules. So if your guest is a college or university student, and their final exam schedule changes with fewer than 14 days' notice, and it impacts their stay date with you, they are also eligible for a reimbursement. And for proof, we require a letter from the school, college, or university confirming the change of date on the exam. So here's what the reimbursement process basically looks like, and we'll keep it pretty brief. When a traveler cannot attend the booking due to one of the protected reasons and has to cancel, they can apply for a reimbursement if they booked with travel protection. If they didn't, then you'll have to fall back on your own cancellation policies. If the guest doesn't have to cancel, then they simply enjoy their stay worry-free. But let's say they do have to cancel. So first, they can't attend for one of their protected reasons. So they apply for a reimbursement and provide the required evidence. Worry-free bookings will then review the request within 1 to 2 business days. And if the reimbursement is approved, then the traveler's credit card is refunded on your behalf. And that's for 100% of the booking total, not including the travel protection fee. Then, your property is reimbursed as well for the same amount, via check or credit card or ACH deposit. Requests aren't usually denied initially, but if they are, it's almost always because the guest did not provide the required evidence. If a request is denied, it's reviewed again, and we reach out to the traveler to try and get the evidence we need. If they still don't provide the proof of the reimbursement, it's denied for the final time. Or if they do provide proof, then both the guest and the property receive refund and reimbursement as normal. So, if a traveler makes a $500 booking, they pay a travel protection fee on top of that amount for the added value of being able to cancel and get most of their money back if something unexpected comes up. If they end up having to cancel, we'll refund the guest on your behalf for the $500 and then reimburse your business for the same $500. That means travel protection comes at virtually no cost to your business. In fact, if you had someone on your wait list or find someone else to fill up that reservation, you can make your money twice over with the travel protection double dip. So no matter what, you're earning money. When the worst happens, sometimes you don't have time to address your travel plans. That's why the guest can apply for a reimbursement up to 30 days after what would have been their departure date. And that goes for any of the circumstances for travel protection. If they miss their reservation due to unexpected circumstances, they can still get their refund and you'll get reimbursed as well. If you'd like to view the full terms and conditions from Travel Protection for all these different scenarios, you can follow the link on the screen right here or scan the QR code with your phone. And I'm also going to show you how you can get set up with Travel Protection. So you can access Travel Protection from the settings in your ResNexus back office. And after clicking that setting, you'll be brought to the information screen where you can learn more about it and click Enroll. From there, you simply click the checkbox to enable Travel Protection. Then you'll have to fill in a bit of information, including the method for how the Travel Protection fee will be collected every month. And then you can click on the Options tab at the top to select which protections you'd like to offer your guests. Alright, we're coming up on the Q&A, but before we get to that, I'm going to cover a few of our frequently asked questions. If you don't see your question here, feel free to put it into the questions field at this time, and we'll get to it in just a few minutes. So first, what type of properties can use ResNexus Travel Protection? And the answer is no accommodation properties are excluded. Bed and breakfasts, hotels, vacation rentals, campgrounds, RVs, cabins, and more can all use ResNexus Travel Protection. What if the guest has to cancel before the travel protection window or has to cancel for a reason not protected under their travel protection? So, if a guest has to cancel before the requisite number of days prior to their arrival date, usually 14, you would handle this just like you would normally handle a cancellation with your own policies. And the same goes for if they have to cancel for a circumstance that's not protected by travel protection. When you cancel a reservation in this way, we strongly recommend that you do not refund the travel protection fee to the guest. Is it travel insurance? The answer is no. Travel protection is more like a limited warranty, like you might purchase with a phone or a television. Also, traditional travel insurance usually only pays the guest, and the business is left with no revenue for the canceled reservation. In addition, most insurance requires regulations, legalities, individual risk assessments, and sometimes can cost more money while providing less cancellation protection for both the guest and the property. What if my guest wants to change the dates of their stay? So your property has the flexibility to move a booking safeguarded by ResNexus Travel Protection to an earlier or later date within 18 months. If the move increases the rate, you'll need to get approval from the guest to charge the price difference, which will need to be billed immediately. Anytime, a guest can choose to extend their stay and pay the additional travel protection fee on the cost of the reservation extension. Likewise, if the guest is forced to leave early, they'll be reimbursed the appropriate proportion of their stay that they did not complete, if they are eligible under the ResNexus Travel Protection Enhanced Terms and Conditions. Alright, we've come to the end. I'll get to the Q&A in just a moment, so feel free to start dropping your questions into the field provided. In the meantime, I'd like to say that if you enjoyed this webinar and would like to view any of our past ones, you can do so by going to our website, resnexus.com. When you scroll to the bottom, you'll see a Webinars button, which will take you to our entire library of past webinars. You can also register for upcoming webinars on this page. All right, thank you for your time in attending this presentation. We've now come to the Q&A portion. So you can go ahead and drop your questions, and we will try and get those answered for you as fast as we can and in the order they appear. And I've also got Nathan Mayfield here to help me answer those questions. All right, and it looks like we're already getting a good amount of questions. Thank you, Nate, for being on to help me out with that.
No problem. Glad to be here. So let's see here.
So I got one for you. The first one I got is, this person says, in the settings, I see that taxpayer ID or EIN number is required for travel protection, and why is that information required?
Oh, so for your ResNexus user, the reason why we require your EIN is because when we reimburse your business, we do have to send out 1099s to your business at the end of the year. So we just require that information for it. One of the other great new things about Worry-Free Bookings or our partners through Worry-Free Bookings or ResNexus Travel Protection is that ResNexus Travel Protection now allows you to pay that monthly travel protection fee that you collect from the guests. You can pay it by credit card or through ACH. If you do ACH, then it does give your guests a little bit of a savings because we do pass that credit card processing fee along to your guests. And another question I see is, can this be offered to guests that use OTAs? Currently, it's only available for over the phone reservations and direct online bookings to the ResNexus booking engine. We are thinking of allowing it to be opened to certain OTAs in the future, and we have talked about that. It's just not technically available yet.
All right. Another question is, since ResNexus is only getting the travel protection fee, what is the mindset behind requiring guests to pay for the entire booking at the time of making the reservation?
Well, that's a good question. The reason why we do require the whole reservation up front is because we reimburse that within the 14-day timeline. Basically, by requiring the whole payment up front, we have something to refund them. If not, then we've never collected payment. So your business would be out payment and we would be out payment as well. So that's why we require that 100% deposit requirement at the beginning. We've have unfortunately seen potentially the situation where someone would say, I bought the fee, but I didn't pay for the whole booking until closer to time, and then basically they wouldn't just pay it, and so basically we the property wouldn't get refunded. So that's a protection for the property.
All right.
Hopefully
Another question. Oh, yeah.
hopefully that made sense. So
Well, I thought it did. Another question. Someone asks, if a guest accidentally adds travel protection and then wants a refund within minutes of making the reservation, can they cancel and then rebook that reservation?
So if 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 they do it depends on the situation that you're talking about. If they do it on the booking engine, they would need to contact you, and you can absolutely remove that and rebook. They could rebook this same I mean, there's a lot of factors involved. If it's a unique room and they're trying to do that, the best practice is for them to call um, and rebook it, or ask you to remove the travel protection, and you can easily just rebook the room without it. If it's the same unit, then if they went back and tried to rebook it through the online booking engine, that unit would no longer show available because they've already booked it. So they would have to call in that circumstance. But the easiest thing is for them to give you a call, but it depends on the unit type. I guess if they were in a class, they could book another unit in that class. But they would still need to inform you if they didn't want that travel protection. They have up to 14 days before their arrival date to let you know that they don't want that, because that's when we collect that fee from your business that was paid on their behalf. So you can treat it like a normal reservation outside that 14 days before your arrival date.
All right, awesome. We got another one here. We got a lot of questions coming in, which is great.
Yep.
When a guest selects a travel protection option and they paid for the entire stay and the travel protection fee, when do we, the property, receive payment for the stay?
Okay, repeat that question one more time.
Sure. So when a guest selects travel protection option and they pay for the entire stay, including the travel protection fee, when would the property receive the payment for that stay? And is it any different from normal?
It's no different than normal. So when the guest makes the booking, the property collects all the funds and has all the funds. And so you collect it up front. Again, it's a protection for the property. It allows you to have that fund sooner, one, and then two, within basically that 14 days or fewer to your arrival dates. If they have to cancel for one of the protected reasons, then we refund back their credit card, and then we refund your business via either ACH bank account or credit or blind credit card refund. Or if those aren't available due to some constraints, then we send you a check.
All right, awesome. All right, we've got a couple of related questions. It sounds like people want a little more clarity on how weather protection works, given the complexity of weather and perceptions. For example, what if it rains intermittently and not continuously? If there's off and on rain for hours, kind of how does that all work?
Oh, that's a great question. So for us, it's how adverse weather involving rain works is basically if it rains between 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. On or off more than, between 2 to 4 hours, they get 50% refund for that day. If it rains more than 4 hours intermittently throughout that day, then they get 100% refund. So, and like I said, all we need is some sort of picture that around the location that it's wet. It doesn't have to be actively raining at the time. They just submit that, and then we double check that in our own process behind the scenes with the National Weather Service, and we're able to see the precipitation and verify that. Sometimes they don't match. If they don't match, we default to the picture evidence of the person, and that's why we would love to have that signature of rain, because sometimes we want to be able to provide them with the best experience, and to hopefully afford their stay, make their stay best. So if we need more additional information, we might call the property, but that's very rare.
All right. Hopefully that answers those questions for you guys. We've got another one related to health conditions. So, if a child of a party gets sick and not the person that made the reservation, would they still be protected for travel protection for that?
Absolutely. So it's immediate family members. So if you have someone that's under your care and they're not part of the reservation because it's like a couple's getaway or something like that, then that is completely covered because they had to stay home to take care of a dependent. That's one thing that makes our travel protection unique from other travel insurances. We aren't a travel insurance. We're a limited warranty service, and honestly, I feel we have a higher rate of approval with qualifying reimbursement requests, in my opinion. So,
All right. We have someone asking about the ResNexus settings for travel protection, the options to add on. They have the options to add on adverse weather and travel delay, but they're wondering about the other options such as sick pets, military duty, jury duty, etc., not being available.
okay, that's a great question. So what happens is you have the sickness, sickness, illness, and death is one option. Adverse weather involving rain and snow is one option. Travel delay includes all those other options. So from flight cancellation to to your vehicle breakdowns to those military services, those are all included in travel delay. So if you wanted to offer everything, you'd select all three. If you don't want to offer illness and sickness, you would just check adverse weather and travel delay. If you only want to do travel delay, just select that one. Vice versa.
All right, pretty straightforward. Okay, I'm not sure about this question. Let's see if we can help them out. What factor or issue has proven to be the most problematic for properties and then also for guests? I'm not sure exactly what that question's referring to. I'm not sure if we can help out with that one.
I would say probably between the guests and the properties, the most miscommunication that happens is that properties and guests need to understand that how travel protection works is it as a limited warranty service, it protects a specific time window. So I think the biggest thing that we have is someone will call outside of that 14 days before arrival date and want a refund. And at that time, that's handled completely by the property. Once it gets to that 14 days or less, the qualifying reason, that's when we handle it. And quite honestly, it varies. The most that we protect out from is 14 days, but then you have like rain and weather. We don't protect you 3 days out. That's the same day protection. travel delay or flight canceled, kind of the same thing. It's within 24 hours. So understanding what is protected and when it is protected is probably, between the guest and the property, is probably the biggest source of confusion that sometimes happens. But again, our services, when they submit it, if it's outside the window, we tell them resubmit around this time, or we'll do clarifications. A lot of times we send it to both the guest requesting the refund and the property, so that they kind of understand that. One of the things I highly recommend is that you go to your booking engine and click on the terms and conditions if you set them on, and read the terms and conditions, and have your staff do that as well, so that they understand what what is covered when. Hurricane is like up to 2 days before the booking date. So that, I would say that that's probably the biggest thing that we see in ResNexus Travel Protection, is the property saying, "Oh, you want to cancel," and they immediately say, "Just go to worry free, just put it through to ResNexus Travel Protection and their administrator, worry free bookings," and it doesn't necessarily qualify yet. But the biggest thing I would say that's a great benefit for the properties is, if you understand that timeline, then you know that if you refund outside the 14-day before arrival date window, we recommend that you refund everything but that child protection fee, and you get to keep that, and that's additional revenue in your pocket, because we don't collect that from you until that 14-day before the arrival date window.
All right, awesome. We've got another question relating to weather. What about scheduled freezing rain or freezing temperatures?
So it is adverse weather involving rain or snow. So basically, that's included as well, if it's going to prevent their daily activities. With snow, usually does it force a road closure, is usually what we're looking for, or prevent your activity from happening on that day because you couldn't move your vehicle or get out of there. That would be in there as well. One thing we don't cover is, we don't cover like tornadoes or just wind related. It has to involve rain or snow. So a tornado isn't covered. Wildfires are not a weather event, but oftentimes people perceive them as that, and that is not covered. So basically, hurricanes, way ahead of it in advance. As snowstorms, you usually have road closures that are easy for us to verify.
All right, it sounds like people would like a little bit more clarification on rain. So
Okay.
maybe if you could give us sort of like an example, like a kind of a case study, what a situation that might arise, because they're asking, if someone's paid and stayed at the accommodation, and then it's evidenced to be rain more than 4 hours a day or 50% of the stay, how would that refund work? So basically, can you paint a picture for us on how this would work?
Absolutely. So say I go and stay at a campground, or stay in a tent, right? So I'm the most affected by rain, in that case, and it starts to rain. So how rain how rain affects how rain works is, it happens on the days of the booking. If you experience rain that lasts more than 2 hours, any part of the day, more than 2 hours any part of the day, then you're eligible for a partial refund of 50%. If it lasts more than 4 hours, then you're eligible for 100% reimbursement of that day. Each day resets to the next one. So I'm not going to give you all of the money for the entire booking if I had a 3-day booking. But if I stayed on Monday and I got rained out on Monday, I would get Monday's value of booking value and add-ons for that day reimbursed to me as the guest, and the property would get that reimbursed to them as well. And then if the next day was bright and sunny and nothing happened, no reimbursement. And then if the day after, if a terrible storm came in and now I had 4 hours of rain, I would get 100% refund for that day as well. Hopefully that, and the hours that it operates is between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Basically the main hours of the day. If it rains outside of that, so say it rains, 8:30 to 7 in the morning, we expect that you're in your tent or otherwise not affected by the weather because you're sleeping. So that is not that is not generally counted. Again, if it's like, hey, if they just submit the time frame, hey, I try to do something at 5 and it rained till 9, of course that would be 4 hours in the day. We would take that into account, and most likely we would refund that for the 100% for that day. We just take it on a case by case, and we verify it with the weather. So.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, hopefully that helps out. We've got a question about hurricanes. If your campground has to shut down due to a hurricane, are there reimbursements? And I think the answer for that is yes, there is hurricane protection.
Yep. For any guest that has travel, let me be clear. For any guest that has purchased travel protection during that time period and they're affected by the hurricane, then those guests would receive 100% refund, and your property would receive a refund. But any guest that did not purchase travel protection, your normal cancellation policies would apply, or your natural policies would apply. And in most cases, you would have to say, I'm closed, I can't have you there, or they'd cancel, and however you guys handle that. But if they don't have travel protection, I just want to be clear that it doesn't protect your whole property from every reservation that happens during that time. It's only for travel protection, for bookings with travel protection on them, for adverse weather involving rain or snow.
All right, here's a good question. Is there a fee charged to the property for this protection?
No, all the fees are passed on to the guest, and they pay for the fee. We collect that fee from you 14 days before the arrival date. I guess if you're being really, really down in the minutia on it, I guess what we do is all the travel protection fees for that month we collect one time from you, and if you are using ACH or a credit card for us to collect those from you, then I guess for that one transaction in a month, you would receive a credit card processing fee for that one time. That was the only thing that cost your business, if you're being really exact on it. But in general, all the fees and everything else, no, they're all paid for by the guest. So the travel protection fee is all covered by the guest, and you collect that at the time of booking, and we just collect that from your business once a month to save you money. We collect them all at once so that we're not pinging you on each individual one.
All right, we've got a few more questions, and then we'll after we get through those, we'll wait another few minutes and see if anything else comes through. We've got another clarifying question asking if you can protect your stay with with either full protection or just part for, say, just travel and weather. Yeah, so there's basically three categories of travel protection, and you can choose which ones you provide to your guests, and they can then select which ones they want to have added onto their stay.
Yep, that is correct. Some of you might not want to cover weather, so you just do illness and travel delays. Some of you might just want to do travel delays and not illness and weather. And some of you might want to go classic and just do illness.
There's another question about weather. The overnight rain policy. So let's say a bad thunderstorm rolls in and the guest leaves in the middle of the night for safety. Would that be covered?
If it involved, if it involved heavy rain and not just thunder and that,
Yeah,
we'd
that's what
take that
I'm
as
imagining. Someone's in their tent and it gets bad enough where they're worried for their safety.
worried for their safety. I would expect that when that comes in, that we would cover that in that case because they had to leave due to adverse weather. So we'd cover it for that day. So again, there's a lot of things that go on every booking. Not every booking's cookie cutter. So it's like, hey, it was really bad thunderstorm, and I had a 5-day booking, and I left day one. I want a full refund. Well, is it going to be bad weather for all 5 days? That weather protection is basically counted every individual day of the booking. So if they had to leave at one night and they left, we would cover that partially. I guess for that night or the next day would be covered, but they would have to return to the booking. In that case, if they wanted a full refund for each day where they were having bad weather.
All right, I said questions were slowing down. It looks like I was mistaken. So, okay, we got some more to go through.
Okay.
All right. What are the monthly fees for adverse weather and travel delay? If I'm not mistaken, there are no set monthly fees. That would just be the travel protection fee passed on to the guest, and like you said, the credit card transaction fees just once a month for those.
Yeah, we charge you nothing, but we collect the fees that the guest pays for once a month. But there are no monthly fees for you to enable it or do anything. Basically, it just comes in as the protection is requested by the guest. We take all those that are requested for the guest for the month, and we collect those from you when they qualify for that protection.
Yes, and there's another follow-up question. Yeah, the property will not pay anything for having travel protection active.
Nope.
Okay, let's
Just
see.
just realize, just for point of clarity, because sometimes maybe some people get confused. The travel protection fee is paid for by the guest, but that is our fee to administer the service. So we collect that fee to administer the service. Sometimes maybe some properties get confused like, well, I should keep that travel protection fee. I'm like, no, that's what funds the travel protection program. So that's what allows us to refund both you and the guest. And so that's our operating cost. But you don't pay it, the guest does.
Yes, thank you for that clarification. Another one, since we've added these extra options, do we recommend or have thoughts on properties requiring travel protection from all of their guests?
We at one point had the easiest way to do that. We used to have an option. We used to have three options for travel protection. Just giving you a little bit of history. We now have optional opt-in and already opt-in. The way for you to easily do that is, I guess how you would currently do that is have it opt-in already and have them uncheck it. We used to have it where it was required and they couldn't opt in or opt out, but that if it was more unpopular with the properties than popular. So we removed that option. We didn't have a lot of properties using it. You can do that. If I get requests, I can make that option available again. But generally, what happened is people would the guests would then claim, I don't agree, and I didn't want it, and you forced me to get it, and they would be mad at the property. So that's why we removed that option. I could make it back in if you guys would like, but I would just need to hear more feedback from those of you using travel protection to see if that's something that you would want to do.
Can travel protection be added onto existing reservations in the system?
So the only way you can add travel protection is at the time of booking for online bookings, and I think it's 7 days before the arrival date for an over-the-phone booking. We do have time limits that are on there, and it prevents people from abusing the system of it. There's no way to make an existing reservation to put on travel protection. You would have to cancel that reservation and make a new booking with it.
All right. A few more weather ones, and one of them I can answer. So this person says they had several cancellations due to ice and severe cold weather. Would that be covered under travel protection? And the answer for that would be not unless it was a weather event involving rain or snow. So just because it's cold.
Yeah, extreme. Yeah, it has to be actively snowing or something. If it caused a road closure, then it would. Yeah, if there was a verified road closure so that people couldn't come to your property, that ice or if that ice or snow was severe enough that road closures were declared in your area that prevented people from coming to your property, then yes, that would be covered.
Right. Yes. Okay, we have a question asking about just asking if adverse weather applies to all types of accommodation. So I'm imagining they're asking about if it's a campground, that makes sense, but what about for other kinds of property like bed and breakfasts and hotels and that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It has to deal with the activities that they do for the day too. So it's definitely more popular in the campground glamping space, but a bed and breakfast could put it on for weather delay. And again, if for some reason your guest came to go to a local fair as a bed and breakfast person, and the fair got rained out and for multiple hours in the day, then we would cover that. Then we would cover their booking value of that day stay for them. So that's how you could use it. It's not as critical as if people are out in the elements, but it has to do with the activities. If they rained them out in your local area, they could definitely put that in and say, "Hey, we came for a music festival and it was rained out and we didn't feel like going because it rained all day long." The festival wouldn't even have to be canceled in that case. We would just say, "Oh, it rained all day when you're trying to do that activity. No problem. We will reimburse you since it rained more than 4 hours. During 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., we'll reimburse you 100% of that day's booking."
Right, and that also ties into another question. Yes, travel protection is for all types of properties and not just campgrounds.
That is correct.
All right, here's a question. If we already collected the cost of their stay, including the travel protection, and 14 days prior to their stay, we would collect the travel protection fee, and then they cancel, let's say, 10 days prior to their stay of arrival. What are you reimbursing to the property if we already collected the cost of the stay and already remitted to you the travel protection fee?
So in this circumstance, I guess if I could get clarifying on this, is it a qualifying reason for them to cancel in this instance, or are they just saying, "Hey, is the circumstance? Hey, I booked date 10 days before the book, 10 days before the booking, um, 10 days before my arrival date. I've decided I just don't want to come, right? Let me cover. So let me cover. That's my question. Is it that one, or is it 10 days before the arrival date they had a qualifying thing like, "Hey, someone got sick and I don't want
I
to come."
think it's assuming it's a qualified cancellation for this question.
Okay.
I think basically it's just a little bit of confusion about what's being reimbursed to the property.
Okay. For both the guest and the property, you get all the booking value, taxes, add-ons, the value of the room, everything that that qualifies to be reimbursed. You both get the same. You get that amount reimbursed minus the travel protection fee. The only thing that doesn't get reimbursed to you and the guest is the travel protection fee.
All right, hopefully that answers your question. We have a question about what is the travel protection fee? Like they're trying to figure out the amount the guest would be paying for example, adverse weather and travel delays.
It has a lot of factors into it, particularly with the weather. It depends on the season. We have technology that we're using to see what the risk factors are for having rain in different months and rainy season. So it varies month to month and state to state.
Yeah, but it'll always be a percentage off of the booking amount, right?
That is correct. It's always a
Yeah.
percentage.
Yeah, so we can't give you a hard and fast number on that, but it will be a percentage.
Yeah.
All right. Let's say the guest reaches out to the property. Is the property in charge of the refund, or do they refer them to another line?
Okay, so it depends. This is where I was mentioning before. It depends on how far out it is from the arrival date. If it's more than 14 days and they just want to cancel, then you handle it normally as you would any other cancellation, and you don't involve ResNexus Travel Protection. You can even refund the travel protection fee if you want. You can refund everything. If it's within the window, then what happens is that you should refer them back to there's a travel protection link that's in their confirmation email, and they should click on that, and it goes to basically a portion of your booking engine that allows them to apply for that reimbursement or refund and upload the picture evidence or other documentation that's required for doctors know jury duty letter, whatever you have to do, they can apply for that, and you just send them there, and then it will get submitted. And so a lot of the administration is through that portal, and so it saves your property a lot of time and money, because then it goes through the process where ResNexus Travel Protection reviews it, contacts the guest, double checks if there's something missing. We reach out to the guest and say, hey, we need this, or this is what qualifies. And so we handle kind of that back and forth administrative service for you for about 80% of what you need. So about 80% of the time. Well, what I mean is, like, we handle most of it. If it's an outlier, when it goes to this, they're like, I just don't want to come. It goes back, or it doesn't qualify, then it goes back to your property. And your property has to say it's not a qualifying reason under travel protection. So, and then you guys do that. But for the most part, in my experience, 98% of the time, when it's a qualified reason, it's really smooth and seamless, and you guys don't even have to worry about it.
Awesome. Here's an interesting one. If a guest books 3 days ahead of an obvious storm that is forecasted, are they still covered?
I know that I know that there is cutoff dates on the booking engine where it's not going to be even an available option. If it was an available option at the time of booking, then they would be covered. But we do have protections in place that there's certain days before in the booking window. If it's too soon to the arrival date, then you won't see travel protection. Like, if you try to do same day, there's no way that wouldn't happen. So.
All right. We'll give it another 30 seconds or so, maybe up to a minute. But it looks like we have come to the end of questions. Where should people go if they do have any questions in the future, Nate?
You know, one of the best places to go is on the ResNexus website under solutions. You'll see travel protection. And if you go there, it has everything that you need to know how that program works. You can also go to the back office settings and look at travel protection there. We do need to update it to include the new weather and different features that are there. I don't think we've done that yet. But you can click on, if you enable it on your booking engine temporarily, you can click on the terms and conditions, or you can go to our administrator service provider, worryfreebookings.com, and you can see the terms and conditions there as well. So there's lots of places that you can
All right, fantastic. Then I think we're going to go ahead and call this webinar. Thanks everyone so much for attending and for all your awesome questions. And I hope you all have a great rest of your week.